Welcome back to Real Shift, where we like to talk real shit all day, every day, all for the love of movies. I am Joe. Before I get into it, please like, comment, share, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications. Any little bit of feedback or support would be greatly appreciated. Without further ado, I'm going to get right into it because I have a lot to cover today. So, as you may or may not know, on this channel here, we only really recognize that there are 6 Star Wars movies. That's pretty much the only 6 movies I care about. That's the first 6 movies. Beyond that, I could care less, and that's all because of the actions of Lucasfilm and Disney and how they treated the property and the fan base, and I just have no desire, really, to even talk about them for any extended period of time. Like, there's people who build their whole channels around just talking about Disney Star Wars, and I commend them for that because I could never do it. It's just, I can't bring myself to talk about something that much. But I will talk about it when something comes up, because it is necessary that we expose the way that they are treating everyone. And right now they are still attempting to manipulate everyone, and it seems to me that a lot of people are falling for it, and it's really unfortunate, but that's the day and age we're in. And I kind of understand it to an extent, because I know people just want to love Star Wars. They don't want to hate it. No one wants to hate it. I don't want to hate it, and I don't hate it overall. I just hate the Disney portion of it. I still have a lot of love for Star Wars. I mean, obviously, like, the original 3 movies are very near and dear to me and will always will be. And even the prequels, even though they may have some issues, they are also very near and dear to my heart. So, and it all has to do with the involvement of George Lucas. Like, to me, Star Wars hasn't been the same since George Lucas was not a part of the creative process. Ever since Lucasfilm and Disney took his ideas for the sequel trilogy and threw them out, Star Wars has been doomed. It's not even the fact that they made bad stuff too, or they made bad movies, or whatever the case may be. It's just the fact that when we try to call them on it, that's when they fire back and say things like we're misogynists, or we're racists, or whatever the case may be, call us man babies. Well, you can call us man babies all we want, but I think it speaks for itself when people are just actively just becoming tired of Star Wars and actively just avoiding it, to be honest, like myself. Someone who is considered to be a diehard. And I am, again, for the original stuff, but you've turned me away. So if you can turn me away, I think you can turn anyone away. But now they're attempting to, I guess, they know they made a mistake and they're trying to reel people back in. Now, I don't believe that they'll ever actually do this. That's what I'm going to say first off. I don't think that they're actually going to retcon anything, because that's admitting that they did something wrong, and they'll never do that because it'll make the man babies, us, it'll make us look better and look like we knew what we were talking about the whole time, which we do. But I don't think they'll ever do that. But in this particular case, there is a rumor going around that essentially they're planning to retcon the sequel trilogy from existence. So everything that happened from The Force Awakens to The Rise of Skywalker will not actually be canon, the main canon storyline. There is a big, long discussion about how they plan to do that. You can check it out on Doomcock's channel if you want, but that's up for you to go. That's not what I'm going to talk about here, because it really doesn't matter, in my personal opinion, how they do it, because there's nothing, and I repeat, there is nothing that Disney and Lucasfilm can do to fix what they've done. A lot of people don't feel that way, maybe, and that's fine. You're entitled to your opinion, but from me, being a diehard Star Wars fan that I am, the damage is done. They've gone too far already. There's no way that they can just say, come up with some storyline and essentially retcon these movies out of existence, and that's suddenly going to make me happy and I'm going to be all for it. I don't think that, even if they did that, to be quite honest, I think it'd just piss me off even more, because then it's like, yeah, we were right the whole time. You gave a shit about it for 5 years or however long it's been, and now you're just going to retcon it, but we can't get that time back. Like, we can't get Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker back. We can't get Harrison Ford as Han Solo back. We definitely can't get Carrie Fisher as Leia back. You had your opportunity to create a fitting end, or I guess a continuation of their story. They already had a fitting end in Return of the Jedi, but a continuation of their story. You had an opportunity to do that and give us something that, as fans, we could be proud of, and you drop the ball completely. I mean, there's not even a scene with the three of them together in any of the sequel trilogy. So, and we can never get that time back. So just by retconning these movies from existence, yes, the whole idea of Luke Skywalker being a bitch and how he was portrayed in The Last Jedi, yes, that'll be gone and we won't have to think about it anymore. I already don't think about it, but we can't get the real Luke Skywalker still, so it doesn't really matter. Like, it's going to end up just aggravating people more, I think, to be quite honest. And for me personally, like, I don't need Disney and Lucasfilm to retcon the sequel trilogy. I've already retconned it from my brain. In fact, I've pretty much erased everything that Disney has made under the Star Wars banner. I've erased it all from my mind because I don't care about any of it. I don't care about the sequel trilogy. I don't care about the two spin-offs, Solo or Rogue One. They're not anything that I need to watch again. I've seen them all, obviously, once, and some more than that, and I honestly have no desire to watch any of them ever again. And that's where I'm at on it. I own The Force Awakens and Rogue One because at the time when they first came out, I was on a little bit of a Star Wars high. Call it nostalgia, call it fangoggles, call it whatever you want to call it, but I was still kind of into it at that point. But The Last Jedi just opened my eyes up to everything, and I can't even enjoy those movies now because I just know that everything that Disney has done with this property is not how it should have been handled. And yes, that includes every single movie they made, all the TV shows they've made, and yes, that includes The Mandalorian. Now, a lot of people, first of all, I will say that I am absolutely ecstatic that there could possibly be some kind of internal civil war going in Lucasfilm. That's the best part of the story, because if that's true, they deserve every bit of that anguish that they're going through right now. And they're just eating each other alive right now. The idea of that, it honestly makes me pretty happy. So, because that's pretty much what they did with the fan base. So they split us down the middle and pitted us against each other. So, moving on from that though, apparently the next in line, or the people that are supposed to take over, say, once Kathleen Kennedy is gone, I guess a lot of people are on board with this, and it's being Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, one or the other, or a combination of the two, or whatever the case may be. And a lot of people are high on these two as far as continuing what they did on The Mandalorian. Now, me personally, I did not buy into The Mandalorian hype. I don't think it was a good show. I think it was mediocre at best, to be quite honest. A lot of it, honestly, was poorly written, in my personal opinion. Specifically the final episode, which was probably the worst episode that I could think of for the show. It just felt like so not Star Wars to me, and I think that had a lot to do with Taika Waititi being in charge of that episode or directing it. But all the things that were happening in that episode, from the stormtroopers punching the baby in the bag to all this stuff that was taking away from the actual storyline and trying to, I guess, add some levity to the situation, which I don't understand why you need to in the situation that they were in. All of it screamed like an MCU type situation, or the formula that they basically use in every MCU movie. They do the same thing. There's always like these moments of levity to take you out of these serious moments, and I don't understand why they do that, because to me personally it takes me out of the movie, and that's what the final episode of The Mandalorian did. I think it was the worst episode, and I know a lot of people don't agree with that because a lot of people think it was the best episode, but I think The Mandalorian, a lot of people just jumped on that bandwagon, and because they were looking for anything Star Wars that was halfway decent. And if you're comparing it to the sequel trilogy, then of course, yes, it's better than that. But if you're just looking at it purely on its own, without taking into consideration everything else that they've done, it's about in line with everything else that they've done. It's poorly constructed, it's poorly written. There's hints in there of certain agendas. I won't say that it's as blatant as it is in the other properties, but there's some things in there that you notice the more you watch it. And I just have to be honest, I just don't think it was that well made of a show. I think people just jumped on that bandwagon. They had a gimmick character with the Baby Yoda thing, and everyone just ran with it. And Disney knew exactly what they were doing. Again, as I started off at the beginning of this video, I said Disney is manipulating everyone, and that's exactly what they're doing. They manipulated everyone with Baby Yoda, and now they're going to manipulate everyone moving forward by dangling this little carrot out there about how the sequel trilogy could possibly be retconned from the original continuity. I don't believe it's ever going to happen, obviously, but we'll see where it goes. I just find it interesting to me too that there's all these rumors coming out about Boba Fett being in The Mandalorian, and I even heard possibly a younger Luke Skywalker or something along those lines. It's just real funny to me that the whole purpose of The Last Jedi, and this is a movie that the company, as in Lucasfilm and Disney, stood behind firmly and definitely defended it against all of us when we said that it wasn't well made, and it pissed on the grave of Star Wars, essentially, because you already killed it and then you're just going to piss on it with The Last Jedi. So what they did by standing up for that movie is basically you're reaffirming to everyone that whatever happened in the past doesn't matter. All the characters from the past don't matter. Luke doesn't matter, Han doesn't matter, Leia doesn't matter, Vader doesn't matter. No one matters. Only thing that matters are these new shitty characters that you've created. That was the point of The Last Jedi. So now you have these rumors about all these people going to be in The Mandalorian, and again, it's more manipulation. Like, now all of a sudden you want to use Boba Fett. Like, before you couldn't get a movie of his off the ground, and then you kind of resorted to going to the Mandalorian route when you couldn't get the movie off the ground. So why now? Why is it okay to use these legacy characters now? Because you're trying to get people, you're trying to reel people back in, you're trying to bring those fans in that you pissed off and that turned their back on you, and you're doing it by using characters that we all love. And I wouldn't be surprised if a young Luke Skywalker shows up, or whatever the case may be. That is not beyond Disney to do something like that, because that's what Disney is. Disney, to me, is a cancer to the entertainment industry. Now, I don't like using that term, but I don't believe anything they do is genuine. I don't believe anything they do has the best interest of the fans at heart. I don't think anything they do is driven by this creative force like it used to be back in the day. I think it's all driven by money. Money is the only object to them. Money and virtue signaling to people who don't even watch their product. That's the two most important things to Disney and Lucasfilm with the current leadership right now, and that is unfortunate, because you had a fan base, a strong fan base that stood with this franchise. Even when there weren't movies being made, Star Wars was successful, from merchandise to the toys to whatever the case may be. Even the Clone Wars, which I've never even watched, I'm here to fully admit that, but there was always something. There was always a piece of Star Wars in popular culture, and it's something for people to latch on to. And Star Wars had that kind of power, and Disney is the ones who took that power and abused it, and they essentially treated something that we care about very dearly, and they treated it just like it was any other property. And Star Wars is not any other property. And now all of a sudden you want to try to manipulate us and dangle these little treats out in front of us and try to get us back on your side, because you know that we're the people that are paying for your purchase of Star Wars. Like, all that money you paid to obtain the property, you need people like us to pay for that, because if we aren't there, no one's buying the merchandise. These people who go online and essentially just support The Last Jedi blindly because they don't have a clue about what real Star Wars actually is, those are the people that you're trying to appeal to. But those people aren't going to buy your products. They're not going to buy your merchandise. They're not going to buy your toys and your figures. They're not going to do any of that, because they're not real fans. They're just people who are jumping on a bandwagon and just trying to go against the real fans who are sitting here fighting for what we believe in, and somehow being turned into the bad guy, somehow being turned into, I guess, people that are not looked upon fondly on social media or in the entertainment industry. Like, everyone wants to take a shot at these diehard fans now, because everyone just thinks we're angry nerds in our basement just wanting to bitch about everything, and we want everything done our way. We don't want everything done our way. We want people to treat our properties and the things we love with respect. That's what we want. And Disney hasn't done that. Disney will continue to not do that. They can put up these veils and try to disguise themselves, but they'll always be Disney. They'll always be the Lucasfilm that dropped the ball with one of the greatest cinematic franchises of all time. And for that reason, in my personal opinion, Disney Star Wars cannot be fixed. Disney must either sell Star Wars or just let the rights go back to George Lucas somehow way off down the line. In my personal opinion, anything that Disney does under the Star Wars brand is not worth my time, it's not worth my money, and I probably will not support it. And that's just where I'm at right now, and there's nothing, absolutely nothing, that they can do to change that. So that's my thoughts on this. That's my thoughts on the whole idea of the sequel trilogy basically being retconned from existence. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments down below. Do you agree with this move? Do you think it would change your mind and change how you feel about Disney Star Wars? Let me know in the comments down below. As always, please like, comment, share, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications, and I'll see you next time right here on Real Shift. Thanks for watching. Peace out.